Hey, welcome to our episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. We got a very special guest reviewer today, Chris Stouts of BeerGeekNation.com. How you
What's
doing, Chris?
up?
And as I often do when I do a Skype review, I'm drinking a beer from your neck of the woods, sort of. This is the
Yeah.
Weyerbacher Double Simcoe IPA. You know probably more about this and beer in general than I do. So can you want to set this up? Like, what's Simcoe hops all about?
Yeah, Simcoe hops is basically it's a genetically created hop strain. It was created in the late 90s. The beautiful thing about Simcoe is it can be used as a bittering and an aroma hop,
Uh huh.
which is hugely helpful for brewers because most of the times you get an aroma hop, you get a bittering hop. This can do both.
Right, kettle hop.
Right, exactly. You get a big flavor out of it. It's got that West Coast flavor at the same time. It's got some spiciness to it. So it's a perfect hop for growing. Or, I'm sorry, for brewing. Problem is, a lot of people have kind of caught on to it, and they're using it now, and it's gone. Like
Hmm.
by right now, that you can't get this hop anymore. So there's some substitutions out there, but they're not quite as good. So it's kind of a
Yeah.
you know a catch
So
22.
this is a single hop IPA, kind of like Founders Centennial, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and I would actually call this, in my book, this is like an imperial IPA. I mean, 9%.
Yeah.
That's like no other IPA I've ever had. So, and I think it's roughly close to about 110 IBUs.
Wow.
So,
Well, let's say we get pouring here. All right. Well, that's one of the darkest IPAs I've ever seen.
it's a
Yeah.
murky IPA.
It is almost like the same color as my desk.
Yeah, really nice, kind of like a almost a bronzish orange,
Yeah.
rust, kind of a copper color to it. They use a lot of crystal malt in this one. Like Crystal 120 gives it that color, a lot of
Yeah.
mouthfeel. It's hazy as hell.
Yeah.
Lots of hop haze to it.
What do you get as far as aroma?
That's
I get like pine syrup.
yeah. It's a citrus bomb, grapefruit, pineapple. Lots of I get caramel and toffee in this one too. A lot of people, some people get it, some people don't. But it's definitely in there.
Yeah, there's like a sweet smell. It's like a syrupy smell with like
Yeah,
a citrusy, fruity, like if you were drinking maple syrup in a room that had just been cleaned very well. You know what I
okay.
mean?
Cheers.
Cheers. Well, if it was 110 IBUs, you're right on the money there. That is
It's a
very bitter.
It's a bitter son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I could
sticky
get,
too.
yeah, it's a big kind of sticky, astringent, citrusy, juicy kind of IPA. I can get this pretty fresh year round, which this is kind of one of my like go-to beers. I try to have a six pack around all the time. I really, really like it. I mean, it's aggressive, but it's not overly complicated. It's a kind of a double IPA for dummies, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? It's kind of a real one note, but really, really does that note perfectly, kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it's the pine bitterness. It's a very thick. But it's also like a soft, gentle mouthfeel. It's not
Yeah.
tearing up your tongue. It
Yeah.
is drying me out though.
Yeah, it's super dry finish, very West Coast on the finish. I mean, I get big grapefruit, big pineapple in there. I get a lot of, it's got a big mouthfeel, caramel, toffee, definitely coming through, almost a breadiness, like a Belgian type of beer.
Yeah, it's a good thing you mentioned that the coffee, the toffee and the
I
caramel.
do that all the time.
I almost said coffee and
Yeah,
caramel. Um, Not that I get coffee on this, but yeah, like those kind of confectionery kind of sweetness.
yeah,
Um, it sticks to your tongue, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Sticks to my teeth.
yeah. It's kind of a hairy beer, like it just,
As you kind of said, it's kind of a one-note beer because, like, it's not.
yep,
I mean, we've only been drinking this for a few minutes, but I would expect if something was going to open up, it would have opened up by now.
yeah,
But it's pretty much the same as when
right.
we started.
But at the same time, kind of the beauty of this beer is it's unpretentious. They call it Double Simcoe IPA. Like
Yeah.
there's no, it's just kind of it's kind of like a an old beat up drag car. You know what I mean? It goes real fast. It does what it's supposed to do, and then it gets out. That's kind of how I see this beer. It's not a pretty beer. It's not a complicated beer, but I don't know. It's got a. It's I have a soft spot for this beer, so it's kind of.
What what would you pair with this food wise or situation wise?
Food wise, well, situation wise, I've had this beer. Most recently, we had it with some barbecue, some pulled pork. A friend of mine has one of those green egg barbecue things. He loves
Oh, like
making.
Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Makes pulled pork and brisket. It cuts the fat fantastically in those types of foods. Pairs really nicely with the sweetness. Other than that, I haven't had it with too many foods, to be completely honest with you. But anything that's kind of sweet and spicy, this thing's going to cut the hell out of and do a nice job kind of complementing it.
Yeah, fatty food.
Yeah, I would skip desserts with
Yeah.
it. I mean, it'd be like toothpaste and ice cream. It's kind of
Yeah.
juice and ice cream.
I'm trying to. I'm still pondering how I want to rate this exactly. I mean, it's definitely a good beer. I really like it. It is kind of repetitive though.
Yeah. See, to
And
me,
the dryness is. I'm taking off points for the dryness.
mm, but it's supposed to be. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't. To me, this is a solid. It's based strictly on the beer alone. I would if I'd never had this before, I would give it probably a B to a B plus.
Yeah, that's what I
Something
was
like
thinking. I was thinking 7 or 8.
Right. It doesn't knock any doors down. Is it the best, Imperial IPA I've ever had? No, by far it's not. Is it drinkable? Absolutely. It's a great study in what Simcoe tastes like.
Yeah.
I mean, for, homebrewers or people who want to try craft beer. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah. Like I said, I'll take points off for the dryness, but I'll add points for the sheer drinkability of it. I mean, 9%.
you don't taste it.
Yeah, you're not getting any
You don't
heat,
taste it.
no warmth. If I was drinking this
Uh,
blind, I think it's like maybe 7 tops,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It sneaks up on you. It's a.
And, it's not a sipper, though, either. I can take this in big gulps, even though it's
Right.
extremely bitter.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost... I mean, this is like a beer to have by itself, maybe, if you're at the bar, or something to have with some kind of hearty meal. Well, just to wrap up here, I'm gonna say a definite 8, which is like a B plus. Have you made up your mind?
I would give it an easy B. I would feel comfortable with a B plus any day of the week. I mean, I would say if you haven't had it, definitely check it out. It's for me, it's fairly cheap. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
it's
like,
not too expensive up here
No.
either.
and it's 9%. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
$6.99 for 4-pack around me. So
Yeah, it's a good deal.
yeah,
All right, well, I guess that about wraps it up for the review of the Weyerbacher Double Simcoe IPA.
what you
Thanks
said.
to Chris at Beer Geek Nation for joining me, and stick around because we're going to do another interview with a craft beer enthusiast. So cheers to that, Chris.
Cheers, guys.